Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second episode of Saturday Morning Hedgehogs. I'm your host, Verte Elmore, and my beautiful co-host beside me,
Natalie Ruby Graves.
and we're here once again to watch and then talk about an episode of Sonic the Saturday Morning cartoon.
Exactly 1 week after watching
Mm-hmm.
the other one.
There has been no gap, despite what the first episode might have told you.
Despite us referencing at the time current events.
Yeah, some things happened that I'm sure you're all aware of sitting at home now. Hopefully you're sitting at home anyway.
So if you're listening to this in the future, we are recording this during the COVID-19 quarantine. And we had months ago recorded our first episode, and then went to record our second episode, and we recorded the intro, we watched the episode, and then I had some food stuck in my teeth, so I went and got it, and I have like a gum infection going on right now, so I jabbed at my gums, and I was just sort of like doubled over in pain for the rest of the day, so we didn't get to record that second half, and then life got crazy.
Yeah, the whole world sort of
The whole
imploded.
world kind of shut down.
Yeah,
for a bit.
kind of.
Not to stress you out or anything, good
Yeah,
listener.
let's not focus on this
you
too
come to
much.
this for an escape, but I was also working a very stressful job at the time that I hated, and I cried on one of my last days. But working a much better job now that I'm much happier with. So
Yeah.
life's a little better.
And
Going forward.
We're ready to do this, hopefully every week. Get you an episode once a week. So, not to keep you too much longer before you get to the good part of the podcast where we talk about the episode, we're going to be watching episode 2, Sonic Boom. As we said, we have watched it before, but we want to have it fresh in our minds to really be able to talk about it.
Wait, before we go ahead with this, did you not have like a long list of Sonic questions you wanted to ask me that you've been keeping deep inside?
That was a thing. I think I have some written down. Unfortunately, we are filming in scenic, our car.
Yeah. Ask me a Sonic question. Let's make an intro here.
All right. Yeah. So this is a thing that we wanted to do. Have like sort of a question corner, and of course you can answer at home to your heart's content.
If you want to like send us questions.
Yeah, that too. We want. We would love to hear from you guys.
Topics of discussion, you know.
Yeah, probably about Sonic.
Preferably about Sonic.
Yeah. Sega maybe.
Sega maybe.
Archie.
Yeah.
You get it.
Archie comics, yeah.
All right. What do you want, like a Sonic factoid question, or
whatever pops into your little.
Well,
little noodle.
Let's go with an easy one. What's your favorite Sonic game?
My favorite Sonic video game.
I'm talking just anything.
Anything with Sonic on it. Well, to give sort of a maybe non-traditional answer, I would probably say Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed.
Oh yeah.
That game fucking bops.
It's a really fun game. I like both of those games.
It's very like fast and fun and real good. And if you haven't played it, please, I recommend it. It's like the best kart racer. SatAMHedgehogs.
Yeah.
And to sort of give a more traditional answer, I would probably say Sonic Adventure, just because I like the way that's structured with like a world to explore with each character, and and you go to the levels and stuff. And also we have a really fond memory of that, where the first time you stayed over, so we lived apart for a very long time. Verte lived in, at the time, Maryland.
I lived on the east coast of the U.S.
In the United States of America, and I lived in the middle of nowhere, Canada. But not long after we started dating, I flew them over, and they visited, and for like a week, and we spent that week playing Sonic Adventure.
Yeah, among some other things.
We did a lot of other things, yes, but we beat Sonic Adventure front to back.
And that was, of course, a very nice memory.
It's one of our favorite memories.
Yeah. My answer to favorite Sonic game is probably also Sonic Adventure. Now, I understand, dear listener, some of you are probably saying that game has a lot of problems. And you're not wrong.
Every game has problems.
Yeah, but you can fall through the floor in Sonic Adventure in the first level. Now, it's not as bad as a lot of people make it out to be, but listen, I'm just saying, if people are saying, well, Sonic Adventure isn't that great, I understand. I still really enjoy it, not just for the reason that you just talked about. It was quite possibly the first Sonic game I ever played it was either Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure 2, and then I know I played Sonic Shuffle when I was very, very young. That is not my favorite Sonic game.
That didn't make your favorite list?
No. For a long time, I didn't think that game was real because no one else remembered it.
Oh, so you were
in
just
my
sort
childhood.
of universally gaslit by the world.
Yeah, and I didn't know how to use the internet.
I think you told me it was just like, yeah, it was like Sonic, but it's Mario Party, and people were just like, that's not real.
That's not real.
That's not real. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so probably Sonic Adventure, maybe Sonic Adventure 2. I like both of those games a lot. I would love to see another game like Sonic Adventure where there's sort of hub areas, but who knows if we'll see another game like that. But really, I like a lot of the Sonic games. But yeah, I'd probably narrow it down to Sonic.
I really like that one. It's fun. I just want to say, like, I don't know. I not to be cringe or anything, bro. But I think you just like things. I don't think there is really such a thing as like a bad game. Like this game is universally bad. I don't think that's a thing. I just think like I don't know, like what you like, and as long as you're not hurting anybody, you're doing great.
No, I mean I think I for the most part agree with that. I think for discussion purposes, people can come to conclusions of something being good or bad, and that doesn't account at all for someone enjoying the game. A lot of people conflate those two concepts, but I think it's important for discussion purposes and design purposes.
Well, my point is, like, if you view games as art can't be bad. There's really no such thing as like bad art. There's art that you don't like. There's art that makes you feel better. There's art that's harmful. But I don't think there's really such a thing as bad art, because all art is meant to make you feel an emotion, and even getting negative emotions, even that is something that is an experience that is, I don't know. There's a whole gamut of human emotions. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I understand that. I get that.
All right, this intro's starting to run long.
Yeah,
we are gonna watch this episode for definitely the first time.
No, we already told them that we. But yeah, so that's episode 2, Sonic Boom. If you're watching along at home, not to be confused with the much later TV show Sonic Boom.
Episode 2, Sonic, otherwise known as Sonic the Hedgehog, otherwise known as Sonic SatAM.
Yeah,
probably knows that already.
All right, we will see you then.
See you then.
Hi. So you may not have heard anything in this part of the podcast last episode, but this is where we're going to put any messages, or if we make any mistakes during recording, we're going to tell you about them here. So in the beginning part of this episode, I think a little bit later on, we refer to episode 2 as Sonic Boom, which is, if you're following along at home, you know is not the name of the episode. And that's because apparently episode 1 was shown on TV as a special at the end of the first season, so that's when we're going to end up watching it as well. But for reference, the actual name of the episode is Sonic and Sally is the one that we're watching. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone at home knows that, because we clearly didn't at the time.
Uh-oh. Stinky.
Like you might have heard, we had to record this episode of the podcast in our car, so the audio isn't great. I apologize for that. It's something that will be fixed in the future, but we just want to let you know that we are still trying to figure this out and what the best recording situation is. There were just a couple of recording problems, and that was the way we could fix it at the time. And one more thing that I just wanted to mention before we get into the meat of the podcast is, did you hear that great music for the intro and later on in the episode, the outro as well? And we're wondering where you could listen to music by the person who made that? Well, have I got some news for you. It is done by a person named Issa, who is a great friend of the show. She made it for us, and you can check out more of her music at industrystandardaudio.bandcamp.com, and then once again that's industrystandardaudio.bandcamp.com. Check her out. She does some really cool stuff, and like I said, friend of the show. She's great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back after watching episode 2 of Sonic SatAM, Sonic and Sally.
It's not Sonic Boom.
It's not
as
Sonic Boom.
Previously said.
Uh-oh. Yeah. But, so yeah, I guess let's get started talking about that. How'd you enjoy this episode?
I thought it was a pretty good one, honestly. It had some funny, like, genuinely funny moments that made me laugh.
Yeah.
Which I think is important for...
It was a little low on the action scenes as compared, I think, to the first episode.
I don't know, it was a lot of... I mean, it did open with Sonic doing a terrorism.
Yeah, good terrorism.
Yeah, no. Yeah, good terrorism.
Yeah.
A backpack full of explosives.
Yeah, but it's against Robotnik, so, like, whatever. He's the worst out of the two terrorists. Anyway, so yeah, as Natalie stated, the episode starts with Sonic, Sally, and then two characters that I don't recall if we saw. I don't think we saw them in the first episode.
Yeah, they were not in the first episode. I was immediately very excited to see Bunny Rabbit.
Yes.
Because I adore this character. She's cute and cool, and
yeah. If at home you don't know, she's a rabbit character who is like half robot. Both of her legs, her from the waist down, and then her left arm. I think
half robot, half Southern Belle.
Yeah. So it was neat to see her. I like her from the comics a lot. And then also Rotor, who is a walrus, and he's like sort of the technician character. That's sort of his role in the group. So it's cool to see those two. Those are freedom fighters. They're very important.
He's called Boomer in the comics, isn't he?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
So
you wanna run us through the plot?
Yeah. So like we said, it starts with them doing this. They have this bag of explosives.
Sonic up with fucking grenades, and
then they have some watches that they use to time everything out, and they split up, and Sonic runs into what we learn to be a SWAT bot factory, which are sort of the rank and file enemies of Robotnik's sort of legion.
Foot soldiers, basically.
Yeah, I really like their design. They're cool.
Some cool robot designs, I'll say. Simple, but...
I think they're silver in the comics when the comic starts, instead of... They're like a sort of dark gray,
like a
dark black.
Yeah, they look like Black Manta.
Yeah, a little. So yeah, and they're trying to time everything so that they can distract the guards outside and get Sonic inside, so that Bunny can cut the power, so that they can plant the bombs.
Sonic distracts the robots by like hucking a rock at it. There's like 4 guard robots standing at a door, and he hucks a rock, and it like smashes the camera above the robots.
Yeah.
Which falls to the ground, and they're like, "Oh shit!" and they just run off.
They just
run away, and then Sonic just like runs immediately behind them, as conspicuous as hell. They don't notice.
Yeah. So that happens, and during this, Sally gets... I forget exactly what Sally was doing in the plan, because Bunny's the one who cut the power.
Sally was... I think she snuck in as well, but she ends up getting kidnapped.
Yeah, so she gets kidnapped by...
Robotnik.
By Robotnik. And the rest of the plan sort of goes off without a hitch, except... Oh, Sally was going to set the bombs off, because the bombs don't end up going off. We find out later in the episode. And then after this, we sort of learn of Robotnik's plan, which is to... He has this robot that sort of looks like Sally, and Snively brings in the last final piece of this robot, which allows it to...
mimic human complexities?
Yeah, something along those lines, which is a little odd. Sally is not a human.
We had the conversation while we were watching. Sally's not a human, she's a squirrel.
Yeah. So, well, she's a Mobian.
I guess.
So she is technically the same like race as Sonic.
I guess she's
species.
They're probably using, I don't know, human as shorthand for the audience.
Yeah, no, it's a kid's show. That's what they meant. They just meant being able to talk and stuff.
Yeah.
What it doesn't mean is memories, which we were a little confused about. Because it really seems...
The whole reason they build this Sally robot is because they want it to... they want Sonic to come back to rescue Sally, and we'll take the robot instead. And the idea is that the Robotnik has a direct feed to Sally, to the Sally robot rather.
He doesn't.
Well, see, that's the plan. He is supposed to, but it breaks. If you remember, the monitors break, and then he can only hear. But yeah, no. Sonic takes the Sally robot back to Knothole, their secret base. The secret base of like the Freedom Fighters, which they call them that. Which, it feels a little serious.
I mean, yeah, it is serious.
I know.
Took over the world.
it's just I don't know. A lot of the wording, like it's a kids cartoon show with like slapstick and stuff, but it's also like freedom fighters and terrorists and
I mean,
etc.
you want back then it was sort of the thing. You want the kids shows to have these like not serious, but I mean like it is like a serious problem, and these characters are heroes like G.I. Joe and He-Man and stuff like that. But maybe the concept of whatever episode, especially past like season openers, season enders, and pilots and whatnot. A lot of the time these episodes can be like not super important. But yeah.
But yeah, Robotnik, Sonic is supposed to rescue the Sally robot, take it back to Knothole. Robotnik learns where Knothole is, and then he can just send SWAT bots, trash the place, and enslave everyone there.
Yeah, the rest of the Mobians, because that's where they all live.
Oh, you mean the rest of like the Mobians, and then there's just like Robotnik and humans and robots?
So as far as the cartoon, and I'm sure as far as they were writing it, they assumed, because they weren't going to assume that they were going to have the longest running video game comic book of all time. That's not how they wrote this show. So I think what the cartoon is supposed to lead you to believe is that the freedom fighters and Knothole, that is where those are the people who have not been taken over by Robotnik. Everyone else has.
Oh boy.
That's why they're called freedom fighters.
That's dark.
Now we do later learn that like there are parts of the world, like if we talk about the entire comic, there are parts of the world that Robotnik, hasn't gotten to. He hasn't taken over the human part of the world that he escaped from, which if we ever talk about the comics, either here or somewhere else. That's a long thing, and then there are like a whole bunch of space aliens, and then there are other groups of freedom fighters, if I recall, but none of them know each other. But there are other survivors, but the cartoon doesn't assume that you know that, because they didn't know that either.
Gotcha.
Anyway, back to the episode.
So Sonic takes the Sally robot back, but something happens in Robotnik's lab. His generator blows or something.
So
his monitors go out, and he doesn't have visual. He just has audio, so he can't exactly find out where Knothole is.
Yeah, and at the same time, he's supposed to be roboticizing Sally.
Flesh Sally.
Yeah, the real Sally. And Snively is the one in charge of that, and something like overheats, and the monitors blow out, and all the technology there is destroyed, so they have to repair it, and they're not going to get around to that until the next day. So she is still fine. She's just being held prisoner. So they make this robot copy her voice and sort of her mannerisms, kind of. And then we cut over to Bunny gets back to Knothole, and there's a funny scene where Antoine like helps her up, and like her arm pops off,
clean off,
and she's like, "Oh dear,
sugar,
me."
Yeah. Hate it when that happens.
Yeah, I guess just to show you, these aren't like metal over an arm. She's a robot. I mean, she's not a robot, but those are robotic pieces.
She's got robot pieces.
Yeah, you learn what happens to her later. I'm not sure in the show, but in the comics, at the very least. And then Sonic shows up a little bit after her, and Sally, of course, never does. And Sonic immediately wants to go back and get Sally, but
they tell him he needs a power ring.
Yeah, which we saw in the last episode. They're very useful. They allow you to do pretty much anything Sonic wants to.
They make Sonic go extra fast and invincible or something.
Maybe invincible, maybe just more powerful.
But, not long after that, we see where these rings come from.
Yeah, so they're like, you have to have a power ring, and they don't have any on them.
So they wait by a pond.
Yeah, it's at night, and they have to wait until morning. And Sonic becomes very impatient. And yeah, they go to this pond or river. I think it's a river connected to a lake, if I recall. Because I think it's called like the Lake O Ring, something like that. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But they just have to sit there, and a ring floats out of the river,
and they grab it, and
Yeah.
It's always very interesting, and we might have even mentioned this in the last episode, but it's always interesting how like other Sonic media handles like what the fuck rings are. Because in the game, we're just like, he needs to collect 100 of a thing, and then he can fucking get a life.
The Sonic series has been going on so long that there are some games where that's not what rings are.
Yeah,
there are games like RPGs where they're money.
At the time, that's what rings were.
Oh yeah,
in the games.
I'm just saying.
And that's what they were created with. You know, they didn't. I don't think the devs put like a super lot of mystical thought into it. It's just like, well, we can't do coins because Mario has that, so I guess golden rings.
I haven't read through the Sonic Bible in a very long time. Not that that's canon. I refuse to believe that. But I haven't read through that. But with all the crazy shit that's in there, I would not be surprised.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy.
But yeah.
Yeah, no,
and
like
then Sonic X, which is of course much later. I don't think rings are in that at all.
I don't remember from the little I saw seeing any rings, but I could be wrong.
I haven't watched that
probably wrong.
since I was a kid.
Yeah, same. I'll say the movie, handled them like they're magic portals, and in Sonic SatAM they are, I guess, god powers for Sonic temporarily.
Yeah. I think we talked about this a little in episode 1, so we won't prattle on too. But yeah, it's really weird that they just float out of a lake. I think it's that like the Mobius creates them naturally, and the rest of the world can't make it anymore because Robotnik built the city over it. I think that's what they're supposed to be going for or going with, but they don't talk about any of that.
I'm happy with that explanation.
They don't talk about any of that in this episode of the cartoon. At the very, I know they eventually explain it in the comics, but to continue on, they get this power ring and they run back to rescue Sally. And Robotnik tries to put up some defenses to sort of trick Sonic into thinking that, oh yeah, I'm not letting you in. But really, Robotnik is letting him in to rescue the Sally robot. And of course he does. Brings her back, and everyone's, oh yay, Sally is back.
And then Tails runs up and hugs her, and oh, you know what? There's a bunch of stuff they established early in the episode, like, yeah, these are some things Sally always does.
Oh
like,
yeah, they have a handshake.
Sally and Sonic have like a handshake where they like bump knuckles and.
Yeah, they bump they go up and then down and then bump their fists together and then bump their top index fingers together.
It's a whole elaborate thing they do. And then with Tails, she has this thing where she like kisses him on each cheek and then gives him like a.
Was that actually established?
I think they showed that early on. It was just like it's such a quick thing that.
Gotcha. But yeah, so they do a good job of establishing like what you should be looking out for and most likely what the characters are going to figure out. Because of course they do.
And our sly boy Tails, the sly fox that he is,
yes.
Hey, notices right away.
So yeah, Sally walks up and kisses him on the cheek, and Tails says the horrid line.
You forgot to do the funny kiss.
Yeah, and she tries again and kisses him on the forehead, and he's like, wait, no, it's kissing me on the nose. As I let out a sigh of relief. Thank God. And she does that, and he's starting to be suspicious. And then it cuts to nighttime, where she is going to read him a bedtime story. She picks up one book and starts reading it, and Tails is like, no, we're reading this book. We started it last night. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry.
And then she just starts reading it, and Tails is like, no, do you do funny voices when you read it to me?
Yeah, the old witch voice.
and Sally robot's just like, all right, done.
Bedtime, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna screw this up.
Slams it shut, and then just like walks outside of Tails' room, like 3 feet away from his open window.
There is a cut to imply that it's later in the night.
All right, but she's still like 3 feet away from his open window, and just like shoots some eye beams. I forget what she does.
Her eyes like light up, and I think it's supposed to be that she's scanning stuff to like scan what Knothole looks like.
I think she's like, she like ruined their crops.
Yeah, but we don't see that on screen.
Huh.
So,
all right.
So
that's why I was confused by that.
To explain what we're talking about there, yeah, there's that scene where she like looks around and red light shoots out of her eyes, and Tails peeks out of his window because he didn't go to bed, probably because she didn't read the bedtime story.
Whole fucking.
That's bad, Sally. He's not gonna get a good night's sleep. He's a growing boy. He needs that. So he looks out of his window and sees that, and he's like, "That's not Sally." And then it cuts to the next morning.
And their crops are just desolated. There's like rotten limp carrots.
Yeah.
Bunny is distraught.
Bunny is very sad, and I think actually it was earlier, but they had learned, obviously, Sonic learned that the SWATbot factory wasn't destroyed, and Sally had said because she didn't have time to, the Sally robot said it's because she didn't have time to set off the bombs. So they say, okay, we have to go and make sure, we got to go set off those bombs to stop this SWATbot factory. They're about to go back to the SWATbot factory, Bunny, Sonic, Sally, I think that's
Sally bot.
I don't think... No, Rotor comes along too.
All right.
And of course, Sally is the Sally robot. And on the bridge out of Knothole, Tails comes running up. Who I will point out, just as an addendum here, as a little footnote. Speaking of feet, his shoes are white with a red stripe in the cartoon, which I know a lot of people, they're not going to notice or care, but it weirds me out.
Sort of a Blue Arms situation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not freaking out about it. I don't hate it. I actually like the way the shoes look. It's just like not what I'm used to seeing Tails in. Anyway, not super important. So, Tails comes running up to Sonic and Sally, and tries to tell Sonic something and says, "Oh well, it's a secret."
And then Sonic's like, "Man talk," and
Sally's like, "You got it." Weird that the Sally robot didn't push to hear whatever secret that was, but
this espionage robot didn't fucking like even try and listen in.
No, just kept walking.
Just like, oh yeah, it'd be rude to listen in on this.
Yeah.
It just fucking walks over there, just like, oh fuck, that's right, I'm a spy. Shit. Oh.
And Tails tells Sonic, "Hey, that's not the real Sally."
Shot lasers out of her eyes.
No, that is not what he says.
Oh, her eyes turned into like a yucky red, I think he says.
That is also not what he said at first. That is what he said.
Okay.
But importantly, at first he says she did not do the funny kiss, and she didn't read the right book, and she didn't do the voice.
Oh, those are the top priorities in his eyes.
Yeah. Hey, Tails. She shot lasers out of her eyes. She had light bulbs instead of eyes. That's the first thing you talk about, bud. And then eventually.
Yo, I don't think that's Sally. This morning she poured the milk in the cereal bowl first. That's crazy.
That only a psychopath would do that. A psychopath or a spy robot. So in response to not reading the right book and stuff like that, the sort of childish needs of Tails, Sonic says, "Well, yeah, she just did a covert spy operation where she was a prisoner of war."
She was a prisoner of war. She had a rough day yesterday, bud.
Yeah, don't always hold her to that. That's absolutely insane. And then, he says the shot lasers in her eyes.
Yucky lasers, or no, yucky red color or something.
Well, the weird thing is, he says that her eyes, she shot red light out of her eyes. And that she stopped to talk to someone, which we didn't see on screen, and that her eyes turned a yucky red color. So, is he listing the red lasers twice, and something we didn't see on screen? Anyway, I mean, I assume that's the Sally robot talking to Robotnik. It can be inferred. But Sonic is like, "Oh, you probably had a bad dream. I gotta go and do this mission. I will see you when I get back. And we can talk about it then." And it cuts to them getting to Robotnik's
SWATbot factory.
The SWATbot factory, yes. Where I think Bunny or Rotor throws a grappling hook at one of those flying machines and takes it down. And they all high five, and Sonic goes to high five Sally.
Oh yeah, and then she doesn't know the elaborate handshake.
Well, no, this is before that, I think. Because they're just high-fiving.
Oh, right. No, this is one of the things that made me laugh out loud. Is fucking, Bunny, Sonic, and Rotor do a three-way high five. I don't see how that works in real life, but alright. They just fucking jump up. And then Sonic goes to high five Sally, and the Sally bot just decks him.
Yeah.
You hear
he goes flying across until he hits a wall.
And he just fucking sailing. Just God.
Yeah, it's out of nowhere. And this does not convince Sonic at this point. Sonic just goes "What did you eat for breakfast?"
Yeah.
What? You fucking idiot.
Sonic is a himbo.
So yeah, Sonic is a himbo. Yeah, Jesus. And so they keep going further in. I think Sonic and Sally and Bunny and Rotor split off at this point. Yeah, because Bunny and Rotor steal one of the ships funnily enough, Rotor picks up a rock. So there's a whole bunch of flying ships. Flying. Not hovering. Flying ships. And Rotor picks up a pebble, or a rock, and throws it in front of them. The first ship flies right past it. Doesn't care at all. It doesn't hit the ship. The second ship stops flying and lands, and the robots get out.
Just to investigate a rock.
to investigate a rock on the ground.
These robots are bad.
These robots are bad.
Babe, you might want to work on that fucking AI there, Butnick. Because, Sonic knocks down a camera, and they're like, oh shit, run that way.
Gotta go to the next town over.
Gotta run. gotta scream. Let's get out of here.
I might be hit with a rock next.
They do like the Scooby-Doo, like run in place.
Yeah. So yeah, and then they steal a ship, like that, and Sonic and Sally, I think take down a robot or something, or maybe plant a bomb, and Sonic is like, oh wow, that's awesome, and goes to do the handshake that we were talking
The
about.
elaborate handshake.
And Sally sort of fucks it up, and he does like, oh, well, you forgot the last part, and does a thumbs down, and Sally is like, oh yeah, and she also does a thumbs down. But that is not the last part of the handshake. And Sonic is like, wait a minute, Tails was right. You're not Sally.
That's what tore it. Not the super strength decking him and sending him flying, but like, she just doesn't remember the handshake.
And then once again, she sort of sits there silently and just punches him.
Oh yeah! Sends him flying again.
And then she runs off and
shooting lasers behind, like, death beams.
The first one, she's running towards a brick wall, and she shoots a hole through the brick wall with just, I shit you not, she points like Frieza and just like
a laser comes out of her finger.
And Sonic goes chasing after her, and she's firing back, and then she makes a turn into like a parking garage is what it looks like. And
shoots poop out of her finger.
Yeah, shoots what really does look like cartoon poop, but this is a
brown sludge, I guess.
Yeah, Mega Muck is what Sonic calls it.
And he runs through it and gets stuck.
Yeah, he gets stuck like a rat glue trap.
Oh God, that's cruel. He's just gonna die.
I mean, it's his shoes. He could just take them off. But what?
He loves those. I'm just thinking of.
Yeah, no, he would be heartbroken.
I'm thinking of the Adventures of episode where he loses his shoes and he is just inconsolably distraught. Like, yeah, in the other Sonic cartoon, the sillier one, he just like loses his shoes one episode, and it's just like, fuck it, Tails. Life's not worth it anymore. I can't go on. Tails is like, no, it's just shoes, man. And Sonic's like,
you don't get it, man.
But yeah, no, he gets stuck in this poo-poo sludge.
Yeah, so he gets stuck, and the Sally robot is about to presumably kill him, by like pointing. And the ship that Bunny and Rotor stole comes in and shoots her, I think, breaking her. And Bunny comes up and grabs Sonic by the legs.
Oh yeah,
and just like
yanks him out like a bundle of like a fucking bouquet of flowers.
Yeah, which is just to show you that Bunny is very strong. She's probably the strongest one in the group. Arguably Rotor, if you read the comics, I think is also very, very strong. But yeah, she has robots. And then I think it cuts to there might be a little bit more chase with the Sally robot. I can't remember, but they get the Sally robot, and Rotor like pops it open,
reprograms it
to tell them, and
follow their orders.
Yeah, and they learn through that Sally's actually been captured and that she's about to be roboticized. Plot convenience, that hasn't happened yet. So they try and figure out. They get it to tell them where Sally is, and Sonic takes the Sally robot with him for a soon-to-be-explained reason, and starts running towards where Sally is going to be.
Doesn't Sonic just like drag her by the arm?
So she's not walking. She's just
add. It's kind of it's not gruesome. They do not animate it like that.
No, but thinking
it does look like he's just dragging this robot.
Well, he literally is, because she was on the ground and he picks her up by the wrist.
Yeah, and just and then just like shoot at that wall.
Well, weirdly enough, even though it blew up a wall last time, this time she has to like lightsaber like slowly cut around a metal rim.
Oh, can we talk
earlier
about we missed the part. This might have been when Sonic mistakenly rescued the Sally robot, I think. But there's like robots guarding it, and Sonic like goes to like I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a porthole in the wall, and he opens it, and there's like 2 trays of food and a drinking glass like full of milk.
Oh, we did totally skip this. Yeah, this is
wild. But he grabs the glass, dumps out the milk, and then like holds the glass and holds his cheek and does like a it's Jaleel White doing like a Jim Cummings impression.
Is it actually, or is it Jim Cummings doing a bad
that was
voice?
definitely Jaleel White. I'm fairly certain.
All right.
But it's just really good. Like, oh, SWAT bots go here, and they run off. And then he runs up to the locking mechanism for the cell door, which is like a voice / handprint thing, and he's just like, "This is Robotnik. Open the cell." And the thing is just like, "All right, handprint required to verify." And Sonic is just like, "Open up or I'll rip your brains out." And the thing is just like, "Okay, yep, you're Robotnik. Open it up." Which is just wild. It's just like, yeah, threaten it. Imagine if somebody could unlock your phone and that is like, okay, Google, unlock my phone.
It is very funny, and two things. One, Robotnik did want him to get the Sally robot, so it is very possible that, not to be a buzzkill, it is very possible that was done on purpose. Second of all, Robotnik in a lot of media is shown to constantly program robots like that.
That's true.
Because he's like an egomaniac, where it's just like, yeah, no, I told you to do that. Fucking do it. Like a lot of his robots will just do that.
That's a good point. He does build some like unnecessarily complicated stuff. He is kind of batshit. So
yeah, no, the man is absolutely insane. But yeah, so sorry to bring that up so late, but yeah, that's so hilarious.
That was really funny. That one got a laugh.
I think that food thing, by the way, is supposed to be like a Star Trek food generator thing, because you see like sparkles when it opens.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I missed that part.
Yeah. I didn't notice it until the second time watching. So yeah, they open this like manhole thing that's on a wall, and they sneak into where roboticizing chamber is with Snively and the real Sally. And I forget exactly what they do. They might set off one of those bombs, but they make a whole bunch of smoke in the room by destroying some stuff.
They distract Snively.
Yeah, and
they swap their Sally bot for the real Sally.
Yeah, they're about to close the robotization thing, and yeah, they like break some machinery that Snively has to reset. And yeah, they swap the Sallys, and then Sonic runs off. The roboticization machine thing closes on the robot Sally, and apparently don't roboticize a robot. That doesn't work. That robot Sally starts like destroying everything in the room.
Snively call Robotnik and just like, Princess Sally has been roboticized, but there's a problem. And she's just like walking around the room shooting rays of death beams out.
But yeah, Robotnik is like, "Oh, get that thing out of there!" Because before we see that, Sonic runs up to like, I guess, a camera that Robotnik just happens to be looking through, and is like, he says some quick one-liner, and he's like, "Yeah, I saved Sally." And Snively calls, and Robotnik's like, "Oh, get that thing out of there!" And then he destroys all of the screens She destroys all the screens Robotnik is on, presumably other things as well. And yeah, and then we cut back to Knothole, and they're back and they're safe, and Tails is sitting on a log next to the lake with the rings, looking quite sad. And Sally says, "No, I'm the real Sally."
Does the funny kiss?
Yeah, sits down next to him, and he's like, "Oh, how can I be sure?" And does the funny kiss, and he is convinced. And Sonic walks up and is like, "Oh, be careful, Tails. How can we know that she's really real?"
And then Sally just starts like sucking face, just fucking like all over him.
Like that one Sonic comic where Sonic and Elise just like, it's just like tongue.
I've never seen that.
It's the one Nipples the Enchilada is from.
Okay.
It just yeah. And Sonic, after kissing Sally,
after macking out,
is just like, "Nah, she's fake,"
and just yoinks Tails and zips out of there. And then Sally says the weird line that prompted us to do a bit of googling. It's just like, "Oh, I hate you, Sonic Hedgehog."
Yeah. So
and just Sonic Hedgehog, and says it as if like Sonic is his first name and Hedgehog is his last name,
presumably with the in the middle.
Which Sonic T Hedgehog.
And I as you know, because I won't stop saying it, I've read the comics, so I knew that at some point in time there was like a name or something. I couldn't remember what, and I googled it, and no, the comics sometimes imply that Sonic is a nickname, but they never say what his actual name was. But a previous Sonic comic writer at the comics had said that his real name is Ogilville Maurice Hedgehog, which does imply that his last name is actually Hedgehog.
Oh, I guess that would add up then.
It does add up, but it was never stated in the actual comic. And that previous writer was Ken Penders, who I think we did touch on a little bit in episode 1.
I'm finding it hard to believe that we're not going to touch on Ken Penders in, like, every episode, because there's so much going on.
I mean, he was a hugely important writer for the comic, and if we ever talk about stuff in the comic, there's a good chance that Ken Penders is one of the people behind it. Because as much, love him or hate him, if you read the comics and you talk about the Sonic comics, the Archie, you're gonna talk about Ken Penders. Because he did a lot of, in my opinion, good stories in the comics. But is he a good guy? That's another story.
Probably not.
Probably. I don't know the guy personally. He could do a
Just
better.
sort of-
He could do a
sort of
better
the
job.
Sort of the self that he puts out there.
He could do a better job on his self branding on websites like Twitter.com.
Twitter.com. Do some Googling around. Do some Googling around for Ken Penders. I'm sure you'll find some absolute whack stuff.
Yeah, there are whole threads on the internet that are just talking about Ken Penders.
But that's the episode.
That's the episode. We'll see you next week. This has been Saturday Morning Hedgehogs. I don't remember if we
had a sign off.
Yeah. We plugged.
Oh, right. We plug our stuff.
I would like to say, if you like this content, I plan on doing stuff eventually. I don't have a schedule for it yet, but SatAMHedgehogs on YouTube. If you want to email us a question, it's SatAMHedgehogs@gmail. We have a Twitter. It's SatAMHedgehogs. If you want to send us questions there, want to send us anything, and then you as well.
If you like my darling voice and want to hear more of it, I do have a YouTube show you can check out, youtube.com/radnat. I do a video game based comedy type style show. I'm never sure how to describe it. I guess I'm an AVGN ripoff. There we go.
I mean, no, I wouldn't say that.
That's what I would say. But yeah, no, if that sounds up your alley, go check it out. I'm not gonna ramble on too much about.
We've talked a lot about
stuff
interesting video games. Yeah.
So thanks for listening. And as we say every single episode,
got a juice. You didn't say it.
Did we say it at the same time?
We did last time.
Did we?
I think.
All
anyway.
right. Cue me up again, okay?
All right.
As we say every episode, got a juice.
Talk about cringe, huh?
That's pretty cring.